All right. Hello, seventh grade. This is Mr. Schaefer. You can't see me right now, just hear my voice, hopefully, but I'm trying a new thing with some new technology, which is helpful because I'm homesick today. So let's try this out and see how it goes. First, your announcements or reminders for today. I thought that we might just, every week when we come in here for this new pod setting, highlight one of our future-ready school values that we're trying to build. Remember, this is the kind of students we're hoping you grow into if you're not already. The B in Beaver stands for builders and leaders. If you look at the picture over there, a leader is somebody who's able to be out front. When they believe in something, they're not going to follow the crowd. They're able to lead people into a better direction. And builders is, yes, build a better world, but they're also interested in building each other up and not tearing anybody down along the way. So that's what we're looking for in the Beaver, the B part of the Future Ready acronym. Also, when you don't feel well. So we talked about COVID safeguards while you're here at school. And remember, we are in the yellow zone. Masks need to be required or need to be wore all the time, okay? Unless you're way by yourself or you're eating, and we got to protect each other. We're going to be distancing in the hallways. One other thing to be aware of, so if you're feeling sick, you've got a sore throat, a fever, okay, a cough, if maybe that's something you would have pushed through in the past and tried to make sure that you had your perfect attendance, now I need you to stay home and rest and make sure you're not spreading anything to somebody else. I can say, from example, that I'm home today, and this is a little cold, I believe, but it's nothing that would have stopped me from coming to work in the past. But for now, get a little rest, make sure the symptoms go away, and then come back. So all these things are things we can do to stay in school, stay out of the red, and make sure that we can stay here growing and learning together. All right? Another reminder. Today, Tuesday, is, by the end of the day that petitions are due for student council. So if you're running for one of those 5 officers, make sure you have your signed petitions to Mrs. West by the end of today. If you haven't even got yours yet and you see this and say, I really want to be whatever, boys rep, secretary, vice president, you can still try to get those signed quickly, all right? I haven't checked with Mrs. West to see how many people we have turned them in yet, but I hope it's a lot. And here is some other timeline things in terms of when we're coming up. A week from today will be speeches and pod. You guys that are running, I'll be talking to you about these deadlines soon, all right? So those are some things going on. From there, remind you that you guys are getting a new set of lessons called Second Step, and you are sort of our test case for this. If we like it as a school, we hear good things. We started with a unit on mindset and goals last week, and the first lesson we had was about when new kids come to our school and what you can do to help them. And the one thing I want you to remember, it's a very vulnerable, difficult moment for those kids. Okay, just to think of when you were new to the school in 6th grade, at least you knew your friends from the year before. If you're brand new, people are going to need some help. So when you see them come in, that's part of our school community. Reach out to those folks, all right? Today, we're actually talking about your brain, that thing between your ears that you need to be using, all right? Today, we're trying to learn about how we can grow our brains and get better at something new. Next part, if this changes for me, and it's not, there we go, is a little warm-up. I want you to think about, and that's why that kid is there thinking, that's the universal thinking sign there, something that you've worked hard at to get better. What was it? What did you do? All right? You can just think about this. You don't have to tell a partner. What's something that a skill, juggling, even way back when you were a kid, and tying your shoes, that at one point you had no clue how to do, but you practiced, you did something to get better, and now it's something very comfortable for you. So think about that for a bit. Hopefully you have something in your brain, even if it's tying your shoes. Next up, I want to talk about your brain, a pretty remarkable organ. So the picture there with growth mindset is how people used to think, fixed mindset is how people used to think on the right. So the fixed mindset is limiting. If you think that you're just set good or bad at something, whether it's math or sports or language, whatever it is, you're going to avoid challenges, give up easily, think that effort is really not worth it. If someone tells you some feedback, hey, you could do this better, or this is really good, if it doesn't fit into your predetermined fixed mindset, you really don't care, okay? And that's really how scientists used to think. We used to have these IQ scores and said, well, this is what this kid's capable of, this is how intelligent they are, that's probably how they're stuck in life. Years and years of brain science have told us that the green picture there, the growth mindset, which allows you some freedom, is how your brain really works, that your brain has something called neuroplasticity, which means if you know plastic, it's kind of malleable or can be changed, and your brain is not set and fixed, especially at a young age, that you can always grow. So these people like challenges. They have a desire to learn. They know that effort is required to build new paths in their brain. So I know we've talked briefly about these things before, but just know that your brain is under construction and new pathways can always be grown. I talked about some brain science there, and I'm not the expert, but here's some things to be aware of about growing your brain. Your brain is full of neurons. That picture right there, if you don't know what a neuron is, it's a cell that sends and receives signals in your brain, kind of like electrical impulses, all right? And your brain is just full of those, and they're being fired, these neurons, all the time. When you try to move your arm, or the way that I'm speaking right now, lots of neurons are firing, all right? Your brain also has neural pathways. When you do something repeatedly, a certain action like tying your shoes, there's going to be like a little road made for those neurons. And you can make new roads and try to map out your brain as long as you are willing to try a new skill. And there's something to be said about teach an old dog new tricks. The brain is a little bit more fully formed the older you get, even though you can still build neural pathways. But it's very easy when you're young, which is kind of exciting. That as long as you do something once or twice or repeated times, you're going to build that road for your neuron. So strengthening the neural pathways. The way we do this is to try new things, challenging things, and if we do that, the more neural pathways we'll make. You've been in middle school now for, well, kind of timeline's weird for you. You had a full year with the shutdown, and now you're 7th graders. And I just wonder, what are the new things that you've learned? Are you the same person, haven't learned any new skills since you were a 5th grader, or have you tried out for a team? Have you taken a flex class that was really out of your comfort zone? Or maybe you're just trying a little harder at math. If so, those neural pathways are probably getting formed, all right? You know me, I like to share some stories from the Schaefer saga. We'll call this one Chapter 2. Call it Action. So briefly, my first teaching job was in Oregon in a small town. And because I was the English teacher, they said, hey, do you know that they also usually teach drama when our English teachers are hired? And I said, I never had done that before. I never acted on stage, had written a little bit, but didn't do any of that. So very without or out of my comfort zone. So I could have just said, I don't want to try that, but I did. I was kind of forced into it. And ended up writing and directing 5 plays in the springtime at this small school. This is a picture from Dr. Wonderful, Superhero in Training, which was my favorite video of those. And I just think about now all the neural pathways that I've built, and I know I have the ability to write dialogue, and I added some music and things as I got better at it. So hopefully you can be not like me and not be forced to do these things, because it really was one of the more rewarding experiences of my professional life. For you guys, I may need some help from the homeroom teachers for this next part to show you how you can pretty quickly build some neural pathways. I want you to grab a partner that's close by and try to play rock, paper, scissors with yourself. Now, when I first heard that, I thought, how do you do that? But use both of your hands, okay? Like your right hand is playing against your left or vice versa. Do your 1, 2, 3 shoot or whatever you normally do, and maybe do it 5 or 6 times each. And have your partner watch you, and then you do it, and they can watch you after that. I want you to try to count and see how fast you can come up with different combinations with your hands, okay? So teachers, you can pause this for a second if you want, but let's play some rock, paper, scissors. This is a good place to pause, teachers, if you want. Okay, maybe we've started up again, and I wonder if you were like me when I first played that. I kept doing the same pattern because it was kind of something new, where you're used to playing rock, paper, scissors with just the one hand. The more I focused, the more combinations and neural pathways I could get, and it was kind of fun in that way. So it only took you 30 seconds or a minute, but you were able to build some new skills, new neural pathways. And if people are wondering, so what, it's just my brain? These neural pathways are talking about new abilities, new skills for you. Pretty cool. So our quote to end and think on today is from an ancient Chinese philosopher, Lao Tzu. And he said, when I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. You have a picture of a little rock star over there with a light bulb. So if you're always, I'm bad at this, I'm bad at that, that's not my thing, my friends don't do that, you're going to be limited in your scope. You're going to be limited in your ability to achieve. So don't focus so much on, well, this is my family. It's important to know what your values are, but it's also important to know what your potential could be based on the amazing brain that you have inside of you, that you can build up pathways at any time you want. So appreciate you listening. We'll see if this new format is something we like. I may try to find a way to add my little face there at the bottom someday. So otherwise, all right, have a great day, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.